Take Two. Case Hawkins coming up.
Okay, hang on.
And hey there, hi there, ho there. A gracious good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast here on Saturday morning, May 16th, the opening day of Churchill Downs here in 2020. An exciting day so far for this week's podcast. This is
No,
take two of
no.
the intro, so
Yeah,
I got it right both times.
yeah. My apologies. I think I left my normal headset that I use somewhere else, and where I don't have it with me. So I'm on my earbuds today, which changes the audio setup on my laptop, and the audio wasn't working. I think when I started the stream could hear me, but not Polly, Case, or Jared coming across Skype. So my apologies. That's on me. I thought I checked all that, but apparently missed a setting somewhere. So yeah, we're starting now. We're a bit late, but we're underway. I think we've got all that sorted out now.
And what Jeff was actually trying to get across to you is that he slept in. He just joined us, and we've been talking about stuff until he could get on with us.
Now I've even had
No,
my
these
second
things
cup of
happen.
coffee.
That's
It's
right. You
a
missed our whole basketball segment already, Jeff.
yeah, Jeff. We already talked about 5 or 6 things, so
Yeah,
you're going to have to keep with us here.
yeah. Apologies.
But welcome to the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour, the joy and excitement of UofL women's sports in podcast form, as we've been doing for you the last several times around, and we'll continue to do so. I did try to download some music to play today, and our fine participants here on the show unanimously went thumbs down on it. So you will not hear that music today. We have changed our musical director leadership, though, and Case Hoskins will now be providing music in subsequent weeks that we do the podcast. Be prepared for anything. He likes it loud. This is the part of the show where we normally do some scheduling and Twitter information for you. We got a full house today. Case, me, Jeff, and Jared. So, Maestro, if you will, take it away.
Indeed, despite the fact that it makes me sad every week, I still do like to look at what would have been on the schedule. So for this weekend, would have had track and rowing both participating in ACC championships. Softball regionals would have been this weekend, with the Supers coming up next week. Men's golf would have been in the NCAA regionals, and that's pretty much it, with women's golf tournament taking place next week. So that would have been the schedule. Like we said last week, spring sports would have been wrapping up. We are very near to the end of the regularly scheduled season, I guess I should say. But we'll move on to our Twitter accounts. I tweet, as always, as best case scenario, BST case scenario. Often misspelled on Instagram, which leads to many random tags on Instagram posts. It's the same thing there. Jared tweets is at Mr. Anderson Jared, bringing you all sorts of photo shoots from his socially distant photo shoots, especially the ones where he's alone and he takes pictures of abandoned buildings. How very dystopian. Polly,
Hey,
it's very on the nose, Jared. Jeez.
it gives me something to do.
Yeah. Polly tweets is at Cardinal Couple. And Jeff tweets is at Cardinal Couple Radio and at Jeff McAdams. So that's what you got. Also tune into the site as always. Check out the right side of the site for a curated Twitter list of all of the UofL women's athletics accounts, where you can follow them directly from there and have them on your own timeline.
Absolutely. So we got a lot of good things over on the right-hand side of the site. I've still kept up the spring sports results over there. You can also read the tweets that are out there. We're taking this from Jeff's Twitter accounts there that he has. So you'll see whatever he puts up there or what comes out of what he does up there. We've also got other information over there I think you'll really find useful from time to time as you go through the Cardinal Couple website. CardinalCouple.com. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is click on it and read us. We got some great stuff up there, including today's article. I will mention that's already drawn a little bit of pro and con reader response from Mr. Case Hoskins, as he decided to write today about the effects of revenue and loss of revenue due to current athletic conditions. Or as Jared hangs up on the bank sign 5 days a week, open or closed. That's pretty much what it is. So, Mr. Case, what say ye about what you wrote today?
Look, if it's a Saturday right and it's not about a sports result, it's probably going to at least cause some controversy on the site. I've just accepted that. People don't agree with everything, and that's fine. I welcome disagreement. I did mention before we went on the show, it's just a realistic or pessimistic take on it that I have. We've started to see more and more schools and conferences in particular have started to make some moves as they've had to deal with lost revenue from the lost college basketball tournament, lost spring sports, particularly for many colleges that would host baseball events, more revenue producers, and as colleges and programs and conferences prepare for potentially additional lost revenue come fall, that is getting closer and closer to Power 5 conferences. The MAC G5 dealt that blow this week, canceling a number of postseason tournaments for a lot of their sports for a number of years. Akron, one of their member universities, canned a number of programs. And then the announcement to save revenue that football coaches would be directed to no longer have the home team stay in hotels the night before a game. It's people are looking at the fact that money is slimmer and trying to figure out how they can trim costs.
Jared, here's what gets me, though. The NFL is saying that they're going to open their training camps on Tuesday. Korean baseball is very, very popular here with American viewers. I understand the Bundesliga over in Germany is going to get underway again, and they're even playing professional golf duel matches or grudge matches or whatever you want to call them. Is this in kind of direct contrast to what's going on the collegiate level? What's your thoughts on this, Jared?
Well, golf's different because you're not physically touching other people. Excuse me. And then you're looking at Korean baseball. Well, that's a whole separate country, which each country has their own guidelines for what's going on right now and how they're handling the situation. So they've chosen to go about and go ahead and play baseball, which is their choice. The United States has gone a little more of a precautionary method and said we need to still continue not putting ourselves at certain risk with contact sports. Although the fact that we are starting to see a few things get back to normal, and there hasn't been any major negative side effects yet with those getting back to normal, is a positive sign that we may see something in the fall. To me, it's still a long shot that we're going to see something in the fall, but I think it's possible at this point.
Jeff, I think you monitor this as well as anybody else does on things of this nature. What's your thoughts on this? Should we open or should we stay closed?
I'm at the moment. I'm still kind of in a let's stay mostly closed. I can see a few things where you're starting to have some careful precautions taken that can open up. We don't really have a good handle on the ability to control this right now, and so I'm a little leery of opening up too much. I'm looking at the possibility of restaurants opening up again and other sorts of retail outlets opening up again. And my personal thought is I'm going to nope right out of that. I've hit a few drive-throughs. I've done some delivery, and we'll probably continue to do that. But I don't think I'm going to go sit in a restaurant for quite some time because I just don't think we have a good handle on the control of this. And interestingly, I think Kentucky as a state is doing better than most. And I don't feel comfortable where I am in Kentucky with that. So certainly wouldn't in other locations. You compare it to Germany and Korea, South Korea, like you mentioned. Those two countries took a very different approach to how they're responding to this, with their uh, with their citizenry. And while the virus doesn't inherently respect national borders, the constriction of flow of people across national borders that happens as a result of, you know, customs and immigration type checkpoints and such does have a tendency to provide a bit of a barrier for it. So, I can see Germany and South Korea, given what they've done with their mitigation efforts, maybe starting to open up a bit more than we do because they've taken some more drastic measures. It's good or bad, positive or negative from a political perspective. They have done that, and so their situation on the ground is different. So I don't think it's necessarily a great idea to compare what we're doing as a country to what they are as a, well, they're opening up, so we should open up. Maybe we look at it and say, what steps have they taken to help control this that we might adopt also, so that then we might be able to open up. But I don't necessarily think we should be looking at other countries. Well, they're opening, so we're going to open too. That's not a data science driven approach to it. So I'm not in favor of that.
It's quite a good point there. And the one that really surprised me out of all these was the NFL camps suggesting that they could open on Tuesday. Case, that just sounds utterly way too soon to me. Your thought?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think that NFL team owners and NFL league executives would like to believe that they're going to be able to have a fall season with some minimal precautions in place. Potentially, not, I say minimal, with some minimal disruptions, I guess, to what was previously planned. They released the schedule. They're talking about how they would do things with no fans and what precautions they need to take to prepare for the virus being an impact on the season. And overall, they'd like to just pretend that things are going to be mostly normal. And if things are going to be mostly normal in the fall, then you have to follow the mostly normal league schedule, and training camp has to start. Take that for what it is. I think that is why training camp is going to start. Whether that's correct or incorrect, good or bad, is not for me to say necessarily. Just that's what they're doing, in my view.
Point well made. The one thing I think that I don't know if enough attention is being paid to because of our nation's fan fervor of seeing things happen again live, even if they do have canned fans and canned reaction on the network broadcast. I thought that was an interesting move there that was mentioned, is the fact that each one of these participants have health. And what will happen when they are faced with other athletes in close situations, like how are you going to play football without a huddle and tackling? Are they going to wear masks on the field? Boy, I can't see that happening. The health issue concerns me a
Well,
lot.
not this type of mask anyway.
Well, yeah, that kind of. Yeah, I would hope they would wear their regular football
Yeah, face
gear
mask
stuff.
and such. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it's a quandary. I'm not going to call it yet. I'm going to wait and see. We're in the early innings on this. Let's see how they're looking at things in July. Let's see if there's an outbreak. Let's see if the numbers spike back up. We've been warned that they possibly could in the fall. There's too much still out there left to be played in this game for me to call it, for me to predict a winner. Okay, so
Yeah, I think there is a possibility that when you have a constrained population, like, for example, a football team, that you can keep in relative isolation if they're in a training camp, for example, that with a sufficient capacity for testing current status, if they could do daily tests of everyone on the team, nasal swab test with a quick response turnaround on those, I think you might be able to pull that off, right? In that you could hopefully very quickly find someone who has tested positive and then remove them from that population and constrain the spread of it further. That's kind of the concept of where, the extensive testing concept is coming from. I don't know if we are at a point in societally that we have that sort of testing capacity available to them. There's a heck of a lot of money in NFL teams available, so maybe they do. But yeah, I'm skeptical of that. So we'll leave it there.
Yeah, like we say, let's just leave it there and see what comes back to it. I don't think there's anywhere you can make a clear, bona fide decision right here on May 16th.
Right.
We're going to have to wait and see. Hey, guys, you know our old pal Lindsay Duvall, U of L women's basketball player. She got herself a new home, she does. It was announced the other day, and then Jared actually broke this from Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
She's headed up to Northern Kentucky University. Jared, what's up with this move?
It's a good move for her. It allows her to still stay pretty close to home, about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max. It's going to be more of like a mid-major program, so she's not going up against the super tough competition when you look at having to ride behind players such as Asia Durr, Dana Evans, and the many, many recruits that we've got coming in. And she could easily play a starting role right out the gate, assuming we have a basketball season. So I do think it's going to be a good fit for her there.
Question I'm going to take around the table here, and this came up on another board I was on earlier this week, is did Jeff Walls set this up for her because that's his alma mater? What do you guys think on that? Do you got an opinion on that, Jared?
Yes. I think from the get-go that Jeff Walls played a big factor in helping her look for places. I don't think he can say, look, Lindsay, you're going to this school, but he's going to say, I've got connections at this school. I've got connections at Northern where he spent several years, and he's got his connections at Western Kentucky from some time, and then he's got connections here and there. He knows coaches and staff, so at least he can get her in contact with the right people. He can vouch for Lindsay as well as vouch for the program she's looking at. So I think it did make Lindsay's process much easier when she was looking.
I'm going to counterpoint you real quick here. The head coach of the NKU women's basketball team is Cameron Whitaker. She took the position after being an assistant coach at Kentucky. Lindsay Duvall, as you well remember, had verbaled to Kentucky before she changed her commitment mind, so to speak, and then came to Louisville. Guess who recruited her like the Dickens when she was a senior in high school and Cameron was at UK? That's right, Cameron did. When Cameron left the campus to go to NKU, Lindsay's interest in the University of Kentucky dropped. So, although Wallace may have been somewhat influential, I do tend to think the fact that Cameron being at NKU plus fellow club ball members that she played with in Allie Neese and also Emma Souter, who are currently on the NKU roster, were instrumental too in the chance of joining back up with Linz again and playing basketball. Case, I've put a whole lot on your plate right here. What do you think?
Yeah, I had two things in mind whenever we asked about some connections here. The first, Lindsay Duvall played a good game in Northern Kentucky this year when they played. She played for 12 minutes. She had 5 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. That's going to grab somebody's attention, right, in a short time in a game like that on the road, especially if they're already on the radar. Just a confirmation, like you mentioned, Candace had been recruiting her in high school, so that's just a confirmation that she can still compete at the college level despite not having been given a lot of opportunities at U of L. The other thing that came to mind was this connection that happened within the last couple of years was Tyler Sharp going from Louisville men's basketball to NKU as well and becoming a very important member of that team. So it would be great to see Lindsay Duvall get the same kind of opportunity.
Jeff, you've just got another trip to the buffet surfaced here again as far as information to digest on this. Are you full yet? What do you got on this issue?
Yeah, I look at my own career and I say, of all the jobs that I've held in my, and I promise I'll relate this back here in a second. Bear with me. Of all the jobs that I've held in my career, one of them came about without any personal interaction and personal recommendation of employment and who I was and what the job was and that it would be a good fit for me. And I was at that job for less than a year because it was a terrible, terrible fit for me as an employee. Every other job, every one that I've been in for multiple years and long, 15 years in one case, 8 years in another, has come thanks to personal connections. I'm admitting to some privilege here, right? That I have connections with people that help me get forward in my life. I joke about calling my life memoir Tripping Upwards, Personal connections are how things get done in the world to a large degree. Yeah, okay, Lindsay had a connection with Cameron. Great, fantastic. You know, Jeff Walls has a history, has his background coming out of Northern Kentucky. Fantastic, great. That's another connection. In cases mentioned forgot what name you mentioned now. The men's basketball player that went up there. That's another
Tyler
connection.
Sharp.
Yeah, Tyler Sharp. Yeah, gosh, blanked on that. Sorry. Uh, those are all connections, and those are all positive things. Those are things to celebrate. This isn't an either or. It's not a black and white. Multiple things can add up together here, and it's fantastic when it happens. It's a great situation to take advantage. If you can have those connections to take advantage of it, hey, great, more power to you. If Jeff Wells had a hand in this, great. That's a good practice. I'm glad he did. Glad he's continuing to support these people who have been a part of the Louisville team up to this point and helping them find an appropriate, future location for themselves. So, yeah, I, I kind of feel like maybe some people are trying to make this out to be a controversy when there's not really one there. It's just okay. Did he have a hand in it? Yeah, good for him. That's the right thing to do by people that you know and respect and want to see do well. So more power to him if he did.
I'm sure the conspiracy theorists will now be touting Jeff Walls as the new contender for the head coaching job at NKU based on this move. But two things I think that we can say with much pride and confidence in the fact that we hope Lindsay does a fantastic job as a member of the NKU women's basketball team. We certainly want the best for her. She was certainly a joy to have on the Cardinal team and also had a stellar high school career at Bullitt East. So nothing but good wishes for Lindsay up there. And I'm glad that she's going into a situation, an environment where she does have some familiarity with some of the players on the squad, as well as the head coach of the program. It's not like she's landed in the middle of Dubuque, Iowa, and said, "Okay, I'm here to play ball. I don't know any of y'all, but let's go." She got some peeps there. Okay, she's got some peeps around her. So, Lindsay, best of luck to you on that aspect for sure of your new career as a student athlete up in Independence, Kentucky. Huh? Yeah, go for it, Lindsay. All right, guys, we had some teleconferences this week. In subsequent conversations with you, I found out that none of you listened to any of them. So, thanks, fellas. I appreciate that.
I tried to, but man, I just had a really crazy week this week.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
Yeah.
You are one of those that are still out there gainfully employed as
Yes.
long as
Yep.
you're doing that, as though the case is, and so is Jared for that. Yeah, you all are after Jared's a front liner. So how about that?
Hang
So I
tight.
understand. We do put those up for the joy and entertainment for those who can listen to them. Hopefully, some people are listening to them. If they are, they're probably sick and tired of hearing my voice since I was prominent on both of them. The first one with Karen Ferguson Days. We all know Karen. She's the head coach of the Louisville women's soccer team. And Karen came in swinging, basically kicking it into the net right off the bat. She did mention that this was her first ever teleconference from home. an interesting aspect of what she's done over 20 years at Louisville. First time she's done a teleconference from home. And she also mentioned that she's still not as smart as the fifth grader. Her NTI instructions of her son still going on despite Karen's best efforts to help. They're struggling along with those. So, as Karen Ferguson days is certainly one of the first fall sports that would normally happen in the Louisville athletic season. There's some thoughts on the status of the soccer program, the status of what Karen Ferguson days is going up against, guys. What do you think about it, Case?
Yeah, I think the important part is that they've been keeping the team engaged. We've seen videos of players working out. Coach has talked about that, and they're keeping them engaged on social media as well, continuing to do weekly kind of takeovers on the soccer. Instagram has been one to keep up with. It was funny. This week's was Lana Bassett. She was
that was great, wasn't
she
it?
was taking everyone around to see all of the important people, and it got to Coach KFD, and she was coach. Her title is head coach. She goes by coach. That's so to hear you call her Karen a bunch this morning was funny, as that was the thing that stuck out in my mind. But as far as the team goes and the program goes, I think that it's been good to be able to see the inner workings of that one. They are one of the better users of social media as a team goes. So it's been good to be able to have kind of an inside look at how they're staying engaged and how the players are keeping up with one another, keeping up with the staff, and how they're able to keep things as normal as possible while being remote for the most part.
Unfortunately, Case, if I were to just call her coach, I could be referring to almost one of 20 coaches on the Louisville campus. So we're going to go with Coach Karen or Coach KFD or Coach Ferguson days, however you want to call her. Just make sure and don't call her late for practice because she likes to be out there from the start. Hey, Jared, are you going to be able to take pictures over at Lynn Stadium this fall? What did you think about the Karen Ferguson days? Rather positive aspect that they would play.
Hey, if she says we're playing, then I'm going to be there taking pictures. There's no doubt about that.
And I think, Jeff, one of the things that we need to look at with this too is just if they do get this underway, and if there are games at Lynn, are they going to allow how much media involved? You're going to have a very crowded press box up there. Case and I have sat up there. You've been up there before too, Jeff, and it's not exactly the wide open spaces of the Oklahoma plains. It's a packed, condensed situation, and 2/3 of the people up there are U of L staffers. Very little media up there. How does that all develop? How does that develop?
Yeah, I don't know. I suspect if they have games, then media will be included in that somehow, even if fans aren't, which is a very real possibility. Um, how do you maintain a safe environment in the press box? I mean, the soccer press box is one of the larger ones on campus, with the potential exception, I guess the exception of football. But yeah, I mean, it's still not a huge expanse where you can necessarily spread out a whole lot. So yeah, it's a challenge, and I don't have the answers on that. Maybe they say, okay, we're not going to allow fans in, but we allow press in, and instead of using the press box for that, they set up tables along that upper concourse, maybe, where it can spread out more fully that way. Spitballing is an idea. Who knows if that's what they'll go with? I'm sure they'll think those things through to a degree, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I do hope and believe that Jared would be included as a photographer, but maybe one of the more favorite photographers on the UofL Sports campus. So I hope so, and I suspect they would. From what I've seen, everybody likes Jared a lot. So, you know.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, even if the players do try to get him involved in the game by kicking the ball to him and running into him, yeah. Case and Jared, you've been up in that press box recently, like I have last year. Those two rooms over to the left of us over there, radio broadcast room that you rarely ever see anybody in, and to the far left, a dignitaries room where Vince or sometimes the athletic association directors or whoever brings special guests to sit up on that far left box over there. The press box is actually segued into 5 different sections, making it, I think, the largest one that we go to besides women's basketball. So I'm optimistic that the spacing could happen there, guys, if it wasn't determined that there are going to be media involved, because obviously there's certain people you got to have up there. You've got to have, of course, sports information director. You've got to have a scorekeeper. You've got to have a public address announcer, stat keeper, social media, and such. So maybe they can put media in its own little separate room because, hey, let's face it, case we're usually the only media there, right?
Well, yeah, I have to think that if you're not going to have fans, one of the things you actually could eliminate is a PA, because who is he PAing to? But you would still need, team social media, sports information director. They'll probably limit media passes. And yeah, if there are no fans, then of course you, like you mentioned, could spread out to those other rooms because there's no fans. It's not like there could be some VIP fan sitting in the dignitary box, like you mentioned. So I think that if they do not have fans and they do allow media, that they'll be taking some precautions to space everyone out even further. Reduce the number of people that can be in there and open the other rooms as much as they can.
I want to piggyback off of what Case said there with the event. If we don't have fans, yeah, you don't need a PA, but you also don't need all those marketing interns out there either that are out there doing the free giveaways and interacting with fans. So you're taking out a few more people in the press box that you don't need. But also looking, your people who are running social media and all that, they don't need to be in the press box per se. I mean, they can still do their job kind of behind the scenes as well. It's not like the actual media covering the game who need to physically witness what's going on.
Well, and if there's no fans, who's to say you don't just let some media spread themselves out in the stands?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be all for it. You can actually hear what's going on.
All very distinct possibilities, guys. Let's see what happens with it. And of course, there is a new SID for women's soccer this year as well. So if Nick Evans hasn't been busy enough lately, he now gets that tossed into his lap as traditionally one of the first fall sports to happen. Nick's first year as the SID for that sport. And I tell you what, he's going to be a busy young man when it gets closer and closer to that. And I wish him the best of luck with trying to sort all that out. I'm sure he'll have plenty of input from the higher ups at UofL, and also, who knows, we could even have a Dr. Fauci up there directing things from a medical point of view, right? We also had another teleconference happen later in the week. This was with softball, where head coach Holly April and student athletes Caitlin Ferguson and Celine Funky were on this teleconference. It was certainly great to see all 3 of them. And one of the main things that we learned out of this was twofold. We can now address Funky as President Funky, and that we can also no longer call the job of shortstop a free-for-all. Coach shot that idea down. They're a spring sport, so they can kind of sit back and see how things roll, right, Jeff?
Yeah, to a degree. Obviously, they have a fall season that they usually like to play. We talked about some of the fall sports that had their spring seasons cut short, like volleyball, for example, field hockey as well, and how that impacted them. So if we don't have sports available and ready to go in the fall, then do they cancel the fall seasons and practice sessions for the spring sports? That's a very real possibility as well that I think probably needs to be considered and thought about. And there's going to be some implications on that. As far as actual official results and an official season, yeah, they do get to wait till spring. So hopefully there's a chance there'll be a little bit better control of things by then, and a better chance that it'll actually happen. It may be a little bit more of a rough play because you've had less preparation time. You didn't have that fall time. But hopefully they'll get the benefit of letting that happen.
Jared, take a look at it from a media point of view. You are a photographer at both women's soccer and softball. Talk a bit about the differences of the two stadiums and press boxes.
The softball press box is noticeably smaller, at least in terms of the area that we're able to sit in. Now, without PA and a few of the other folks that might be up there, it kind of works in favor. But also, from a photographer standpoint, with soccer, we can move around almost the entire pitch. We can't go over by the team, so we can't stand right behind the goal, but we have all that space to spread out in. When it comes to softball, if we are taking pictures, we can stand in the corner by the dugouts, or we can go onto the field at the far end of the dugouts, right along kind of like the foul line. So you are limiting your photographers on where they can go when it comes to a sport like that. And I mean, even if you want to get into the basketball a little bit, which would be the later fall, going into winter, early spring, I mean, your photographers are all lined up there on the court, sitting in their tiny assigned boxes. I mean, they can't move. So once again, you're looking at, for some sports, it's going to be tough, even with media, just because of how close we are, as opposed to other sports where we can spread out and walk around and kind of go where we want to.
Case, the ACC network was unveiled last season. Just kind of spitball this around a little bit. How heavily do you think they'll be involved in ACC athletics starting with the fall?
Well, I think there will be a concentrated effort if there are no fans allowed and sports continue, including all the non-revenue sports. There will be a concentrated effort to get a team out to every event that they can, the ACC network that is, in an attempt to make everything available. Because whether it's a revenue sport or not, the ACC has sponsors, and having more broadcasts means more sponsorship money for the conference. And there would probably be some changes that come with that as well. If social distancing is still the norm, then you may see remote broadcasting. That has started to come back a bit with the broadcasters watching the live feed just the same as everyone at home, rather than being live in person, or also reducing to one broadcast team member if they have cameraman on the press box or something like that, to give just one camera angle and then just one broadcaster in the booth to prevent having multiple people in one spot. But that is what my guess would be, is that the ACC network would make every effort to have every event available to fans in some capacity.
And I sure can't wait to see Don Russell call a game from his couch in the winter after a couple of beers. That would be must-see TV. All right, guys, I've hinted about it. I've promised a little bit about it. But today, here on the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, I am bringing back, for the first time this podcast history, the Worldwide Cardinal Couple Radio Quiz.
All right.
Where's our music?
We don't have music.
How's that? Pretty close anyway. I can't play that because Jeff says we'll get sued by the copyright people. So. What we need you to do, Case, no, let's have Jared do it, Case, so you don't sing any better than I do. Jared, get out your euphonium and learn that Gillette March fight song.
It is
podcast.
It is stored at my parents' house at the moment.
Oh well. Maybe we could all go out like the Dollar General and buy kazoos and play it next week. Huh? That would make a good way around it.
Someone get a harmonica, someone a kazoo.
We only had a vibes player here on the show. I've always said we needed a vibes player to kind of bang it out there. And I could try the tap dance because I did take that in grade school. Anyway, yes, today, the Cardinal Couple Quiz, we have 3 participants. Let's review the rules since it's been so long since we did that. And also for those listening at home, there are 10 questions and a bonus question. you do have the option on to take the bonus or to not take the bonus. If you take the bonus and get it right, you get 20 points. If you miss the bonus, you lose 20 points. Each of the questions is worth 10 points. So you could actually finish with a perfect 100, get the bonus right, and end up with a total score of 120, which we've had happen in past segments of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour quiz. Since we don't have any small white boards to hold our answers up in, after I give the question and the possible answers, we will go in terms of age. The eldest goes first. That
Great.
means Jeff will get the first answer, followed by Case, and then last but not least, Jared. See, Case, you're not first for something for once. How about that? And if you do need the question, of course, repeated, I'll be happy to do that. You're welcome, of course, dear listeners, to play along at home and certainly let us know how you do compared to these quiz stalwarts I've got up here with me today that are going to take this first Cardinal Couple quiz for the year. All right, guys, the subject of today's quiz is going to be Kentucky Proud. That's right. You've seen Governor Andy talk about how we're all in this together and we're all Kentucky proud and that we need to explore Kentucky. This quiz is going to be worth a lot of attention because it's about Kentucky today, Kentucky proud. Not the school Kentucky, but athletes, schools, and such that are from the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Are you ready, gentlemen?
Sure. Let's do it.
Yes.
Here we go. Question number 1 for you. This Louisville women's basketball student athlete is from Kentucky. Which one of the 4 is she? Dana Evans. B. Romani Parker. C. Molly Lockhart. And D. Nia Green. A, B, C, or D? Evans, Parker, Lockhart, or Green? What you got, Jeff?
I believe it's Molly Lockhart.
Jeff says Molly. What you got, Case?
That is C. Molly Lockhart, Butler Bear.
And Jared, your answer?
I must agree, and Case beat me to it, but the Butler High School graduate.
And I don't have the bell with me. Sorry about that, guys. But ding, 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 ding. Yes, you are all correct. The answer is C, Molly Lockhart. She was, of course, Louisville or Jefferson County's Butler. Pride and Joy for several years.
Right.
Dana Evans, of course, being from Gary, Indiana. Romani Parker from the coast, left coast, I think. And Nia Green, of course, coming from Texas. So there you go. They're 1 for 1 as we go on to question number 2. Question number 2 is, this college is in Kentucky. Which college is it? Is it A, Lambeth, B, Drexel, C, Austin P, or D, Asbury? Which one of these are in Kentucky? What you got, Jeff?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. All right, Asbury.
He's going with D, Asbury. Case, what say you?
Yes, I knew someone who actually coached basketball at this college. It is Asbury.
Nice.
Very good. Jared, you get to follow these 2 knuckleheads. What do you say?
We're in consensus again.
And
No.
ding, 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 ding.
And no fair changing your answer if you thought it was one
That's
thing and
right.
other people say something else.
Right.
The most
I-
honor system quiz you could ever have.
Yeah, I thought for a
You
second.
had a Tennessee school in there, but I didn't even know what the first school was that you said.
Yeah, I'd not heard of it.
Never heard of Lambeth?
Nope.
Oh,
No, I cannot say that I have.
Yeah.
okay.
I initially thought Austin P. That was like, no, wait, that's just over the state line in Tennessee. So, yeah.
Yes, and then Clarksville, Tennessee, who,
Yeah.
of course, came up with the infamous chant, "Let's go P,
Yeah.
let's go P." I love that. Okay, so we got that going on. These guys are 2 for 2. I hope you're doing as well at home. Question number 3 comes up next. NKU, Northern Kentucky University, has the nickname of A, the Horses, B, the Hilltoppers, C, the Pack, or D, the Norse? A, B, C, or D, Jeff?
Yeah, D, the Norse.
Going with the Norse. What say you, Case?
Yep, they stuck with the alliteration. D Norse.
They did indeed. And Jared?
They finally switched from Norsemen to Norse overall, which is nice. But yes, D is correct.
Ding, 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 ding. They all get it correct, and I hope you did well at home. It is D, the Norse. When we were up there for the game, women's basketball game back in the winter time, they actually have a guy who sits in the seats who dresses as a Viking Norseman, complete with horns and the hat, and a young lady sitting next to him with long, curly, tied up in a pigtail blonde hair. Pretty cool. I got a picture of him. I'll have to put it up on the website. May have already, don't know. Okay, these guys are 3 for 3 as we go into question number 4. Question number 4. This former U of L softball student athlete is from Kentucky originally. She is A. Marissa Becker, B. Jordan McNary, C. Chelsea Bemis, or D. Asia Sherman. A, B, C, or D. Who is from Kentucky, Jeff?
I've never heard of D. I'm sad to say. But I believe Jordan McNary is the Kentuckian out of that bunch.
Jeff going to go with the B answer. How about you, Case?
That was my guess from the beginning. I literally have no idea, so it was a wild guess of B.
And Jared?
I'm sticking with McNary because I know Becker was Oregon, and I didn't recognize D at all either.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick with Jordan McNary.
Ding, 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 ding. They are all correct. It is
Yep.
Jordan McNary, the proud of Madisonville, Kentucky, also known as the Gov.
She's from Madisonville. I definitely should have known that.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, she is. Very proud of that aspect. Although these days she is living in Louisville, working with a corporation here in town, and also volunteering as a assistant coach at Asbury College.
Nice.
Going over and that's several days a week. Yes, always good to catch up with the Gov. Got to see her at a couple basketball games this year. Jordan McNary for question number 4. These guys are still picture perfect on the quiz. Hope you are. The questions are going to get tougher, I do promise you. Question number 5. This former University of Louisville coach is from Kentucky. Is it A, Rexy Karma, B, Denny Crum, C, Bobby Petrino, or D, Sandy Pearsall? Jeff, what say you?
Wow. I think Sandy Pearsall was. Yeah, I don't know if I'm thinking that for some real reason or just the fact that she was with us for 20 years that has made me think that, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Jeff is going with D, Sandy Pearsall. Case, your answer?
Yeah, I'm also going with D just because I'm pretty sure none of the other ones are.
And Jared, your answer?
I thought it was Pearsall. The only one I know is not from Kentucky would be Denny Crum. So, I mean, at that point, it's like a 3-sided coin flip. So we'll go with Pearsall.
All 3 have gone with D. They all 3 get it wrong. The answer is Rex Ikarma. Rex Ikarma played his high school tennis and grew up in the Doss area, along with Derek Anderson and many other fine athletes out of that high school, Doss High School.
From down the road, and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too far from Butler. Certainly not too far from Fern Creek. Rexy Karma, yes, a high school and also collegiate star at the University of Louisville. Answer 5A. Halfway through the quiz, each one of our contestants have one wrong answer. We are now going to switch up the order of how you answer. Jeff, you are no longer in the driver's seat. You will be back third. We will go Case, Jared, and Jeff now for the next 5 questions. Case, Jared, and Jeff in that order. See, I knew you'd get back there eventually, Case.
Yeah, right.
Question number 6. This U of L women's soccer player is from Kentucky. Is it A, Kiana Klein, B. Taylor Kerwin, C. Jolene Ballard, or D. Gabby Cazellas? A, B, C, or D. That's Klein, Kerwin, Ballard, or Cazellas. What say you, Case?
I'm going to go with C, Jolene Ballard.
He takes the C. What's going on with you over there?
I am going with the DuPont Manual graduate Jolene Ballard.
And you set it up perfectly for Jeff. Good job, Case.
I
Jeff,
didn't say where she went to school. I was trying to be more coy about it.
I thought we were on the honor system.
Guess what, Jared? The honor system doesn't work if you verbally give the clue before the next person answers.
So
Automatically.
I will admit that this was going to be a pure guess, but I was indeed leaning towards Jolene Ballard. So
And correct you all are, it was G, Jolene Ballard.
Gee,
Thanks, Jared, for it's
skipped
C.
a bunch of letters.
C.
I'm on a
C.
roll.
I've confused everybody, as usual in this quiz, including myself. The answer is C. Jolene Ballard. The school was correctly identified by the dimwit Jared before Jeff got the answer. All three of you get this correct.
Case did it earlier with Butler and
Yeah, but everybody knew Molly Lockhart.
well, yeah, that's true.
The wheels are already flat on this vehicle. I just hope they don't fall off before I'm done. It is out of total control again. And I thought things would change once we left WCH.
Right.
Boy, was I wrong. Yeah. Question number 7 for you. This U of L field hockey player is from Kentucky. Is it A, Erica Cooper, B, Madison Walsh, C, Margot Lawn, or D, Carter Ayers? Cooper, Walsh, Lawn, or Ayers? What do you think about that one, Case?
Now, see, last week I was looking at the field hockey roster and looking at what schools that people went to, and didn't remember which one went to the schools in Kentucky. My guess is Maddie Walsh. I think that was A.
See, Walsh was B.
I think
Cooper was
that's
A.
what I'm saying. Maddie B then. Maddie Walsh.
One would be. All right. All right. What you got going on over there, Jared?
Well, I'm 100% definite on this, and it's Erica Cooper.
Okay, leaving Jeff a dilemma. Does he go with Jared's answer, or does he go with Case's answer, or his own answer?
I'm gonna play in good faith here and say that until those I was thinking Carter Ayers, but yeah, it was mostly a guess. Hello? You there, Paul?
So we've got 3 different answers here from our 3 contestants. The correct answer. Yeah, Jeff,
Assumption High School.
I'm here. Can you get her?
I
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Fantastic. The answer to question number 7 is A, Erica Cooper. Erica Cooper, Louisville Assumption High School. And
Right
also
across the street from where I work.
Yeah. Very nice lady to speak with as well. So we get the buzzer out for Case. We get the buzzer out for Jeff, but Jared does get the answer correct and just assume the lead here.
Maddie Tabor. I knew there was a Maddie. Maddie Tabor went to Sacred.
She did.
I had it wrong in my head.
Yeah, actually, there's more field hockey players than I realized were actually from the state of Kentucky on the field hockey squad here. So, but they
We
didn't
got
want to bring
like 3 Assumption High School grads or something, 3 or 4 Assumption grads in there.
That is correct. Our good friend Justine's Avery squad. So after 7 questions, Jared's got 6 out of 7. Case and Jeff behind him with 5 out of 7. We move on to question number 8. This U of L lacrosse student athlete is from Kentucky. Is it A, Grace Jenny? Is it B, Ashley Osborne? Is it C, Izzy Holmes? Or is it D, Rachel Florick? Is it Jenny? Osborne, Holmes, or Rachel Florick? Case, where are you going to go?
I don't know. C.
Going with C. All right, Jared, what say you?
I forgot what letter she was, but I'm going with Ashley Osborne.
That would be B, Ashley Osborne. Jeff, which way are you going to turn on this one?
This is again a guess. I am gonna guess Rachel Florick, but
Jeff's doing some hardcore thinking right now, isn't he?
yeah, well, my network connection is suffering too. So you got me. You hearing me?
Gonna go with the flow.
Yep.
Rachel Florick.
We are losing Jeff.
Yeah.
And
Just
shaky. But
Yep.
the correct answer was B. Ashley Osborne. B. Ashley Osborne, who went to Ballard High School. So Jared gets this one correct, and the other two guys get the buzzer.
I found out through a photographer buddy of mine who shot her when she did high school sports. He's like, hey, would you mind getting a couple pictures for me so I can send her family? So that's how I knew that one.
Neat.
And I've been fortunate enough to meet three of these four parents. Grace Jenny's dad, Ashley Osborne's parents, and Rachel's parents. So there you go. All right. Jared's building up a bit of a commanding lead on you guys now. Still with just one incorrect answer out of 8. Let's go to question number 9. Softball's Taylor Roby is from which Kentucky city?
Oh,
Is it A, Taylorsville? Is it D, Mount Washington? Taylor Roby hails from A, Taylorsville, B, Shelbyville, C, Lexington, D, Mount Washington. Case, what you got?
Going with D, just because there's a Roby Elementary in Mount Washington, so that's my guess.
Everybody's got to have logic. Case just explained this. He's going to go D. Jared?
I thought she went to school with Lindsay Duval, so I don't know if that's right or not. We'll stick with Bullet or Mount Washington.
Okay. Jared? Jeff, what you got?
I'm again pretty much a guess.
Jeff, 1 for A, Jeff, twice for B.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess.
Put your answer in the chat, Jeff.
Yeah, I think I will do that. I'm guessing Lexington. People, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure my chat is working well either.
Jeff goes with Lexington on his answer. Case and Jared have gone with Mount Washington. And the correct answer is D, Mount Washington. A Bullitt East graduate. This actually did go to school for a while with Lindsay Duval, but did not play basketball. I asked Chris Stallings that question specifically when I interviewed him, and he said no, she was a fine athlete, Roby was, but she never stepped on the basketball court for me at Bullitt East. So Jeff falls a little bit further behind the pack as Jared goes into our final question of the regular round with a amazing 8 out of 9 correct. He's right behind him, Jared. You can see Jeff back in the distance trailing with bad connection and all. Question number 10. This volleyball alumni great was from the state of Kentucky. Is it B, Molly Sauer? Is it C, Janelle Jenkins? Or is it D, Iko Jones? Clark, Sauer, Jenkins, or Jones? What do you think there, Case?
I'm pretty sure that I know this, and I'm glad that you picked a person that I knew. I'm pretty sure it's Molly Sauer.
Very good. Jared, your thoughts?
Since I know Jeff knows the answer to this, I don't mind saying her high school to Assumption High School, Molly Sauer.
Yep, Molly Sauer is definitely.
And Jeff, would you agree with these two young gentlemen?
Yep, Molly Sauer out of Assumption High School. Jared's absolutely correct on that.
Molly Sauer across the board. Everybody's still in. And so it's unanimous B, Molly Sarah. And B is the correct answer for question number 10. Ding, 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 Molly Sarah, who was quite the fine volleyball player here in the Louisville, Kentucky area in her high school days. Didn't do too bad as a college student athlete at Louisville, either, did she?
No, not at all.
We have come to the end of the regular round. Jared, in the command points so far. We go next to Case. Case.
I don't know what you said there.
I have no idea what he said is.
Just out.
Yeah.
Can't win these out.
Oh, that was interesting. Get that translated. You had 6 for 9. That's an old Jimi Hendrix song, isn't it? Yeah. If 6 for 9. And Jeff, well, unfortunately, back one. Who else is by you, Jeff? Is that correct? I do believe it is. Sorry, pal, but you're 5 out of 10.
Yeah. That's a rough
The bonus
outing.
awaits itself. A chance for everybody to either seek redemption or decline to take the question.
I'll give it a
So I'm
shot.
going to have you declare before we do the question as per normal. Hope you're doing well at home. Okay, Jeff says he's going to go for the bonus. Case?
Wants to catch Jared.
From Kentucky, or is it